What up, YouTube? It's your boy Burner420, and today on the show we got Jason. Jason is one of my friends and one of my cellies that we lived together for about a year. A lot of things have been into question about me and how much time I've done, so I just decided, who else can I possibly get on the show that's going to know as much about my time as me? And it has to be somebody that I've lived with. But before we get into this, please make sure you guys check the description box below. All my social media is going to be linked. All his social medias are going to be linked. And you guys are going to be able to stay in tune with everything that we're dropping on our channels. I'm going to go ahead and take a couple minutes to let him go ahead and explain himself and what he went to prison for and pretty much how we met.
My name's Jason. When I was 19, I went to prison on 11 charges of burglary. I was 19. I didn't have much going for me, so they sent me away on those charges. I think maybe I met Burner probably 4 years into my stay. I escaped from prison out in Utah, went on the run for 5 days, and had to serve 2 years in Nebraska State Penitentiary. And when I got extradited back, they threw me in max.
Yeah, and I remember that. That was we were in Hickory 1, weren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we were in Hickory 1 together. It was max. There's a whole bunch of different people there. There was all kinds of different gang members. There was Nortes, there were Southsiders, there were VLTs. There were some Crips. There's a little bit of everybody that lived in that section. Me and him, we used to be from the same gang and shit, so they had us pretty much living together. The section was cool. It was dope. I really liked it. You know, it kind of sucked for a minute, but we made it what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Go ahead and explain to everybody exactly how you escaped from prison and where it was.
So when I first went to prison, I seen the Board of Pardons, and they gave me a 5-year rehearing. And I was like, shit, this is the rest of my life. So being as young as I was, I thought 5 years was an extremely long time. So they have these contracts with county jails out in Utah. And if your points meet that level, then they will county you out. And so you'll be serving state time in a county jail. Well, 2 years into my sentence, they sent me to Vernal, Utah, and I started working in the kitchen. The state inmates had the jobs. I was working in the kitchen, and I pretty much had run of the jail when I was there. And I think they were trying to get federal funding from the feds to hold federal inmates on the second story. And I found this little, vent behind the laundry room. And when I was doing laundry one night, I found it. And what I did was I could see the parking lot out there. So I went back to the section, and this dude that was all talk, he was all talk, but he was always talking about, hey, if I could escape, I would, whoop-de-woo. And so I went to him and I was like, look, bro, I found a way out. You want to escape? And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. So originally we had set it up for like 4 weeks down the road to get all our finances in order, get everything sent out. But I was already being investigated at the time for messing around with one of the civilian kitchen staff members. So I guess my days were kind of numbered there anyways. So we talked about it all day. And by that night, we went to night laundry, and we had decided to go that night. It was now or never. So in the laundry room, there was this little supply closet, and it had this little locked door. So I got this knife, and I jimmied open the door. That's where the vents were, and it had these electric louvers. So when the dryers were turned on, the industrial dryers turned on, it was a cold air intake to keep the dryers cool. And so they would open up, and then there was a chicken wire between that and then another vent on the outside. So it probably took me 2 hours to get those louvers off. They were on there pretty good. But I had run the whole jail with night laundry. Went from 8 p.m. until about 3 a.m. So at about 12, I finally got the louvers off and was able to go. And right before we escaped, I was like, look, I'm going to go kick this vent out. As soon as I kick the vent out, we got to go. We got to take off. So I did that. It was about midnight when I did that. We hopped, it was the parking lot. We hopped the fence, and I think like 20 minutes later, we stole a car. The dude that did it with me was this dude named Dallas. When we got caught, though, he ended up telling them everything and who I was and he didn't have no care about that. He was like, I'm just trying to help, and I don't want to be a rat, but you could just Google inmate escape in Utah and you'll find out who that dude was. And so it was a big ordeal. And so when I stole 5 cars when I was on the run. I went 800 miles, I think, from Vernal, Utah to Lincoln, Nebraska. And on all those stolen cars, they charged me with 2 of them. And I did 2 years for the 2 stolen cars out in Nebraska before I got extradited.
So you did both time in Utah and Nebraska. What would you say was the most dangerous yard?
I think Utah was worse. Nebraska was chill. It was open yard all day. I mean, they had soda pop vending machines with soda cans and tokens and stuff. In Utah, they won't. That wouldn't happen in Utah. So it was a lot easier out there. It was cool time. They had free weights, and
I still remember you told me, you said that people didn't really tattoo out there like they do on the West Coast. And so you said that you ran into a dude and they called him Sleeves because he had sleeves.
Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot of tattooing out there. There were some people that had quite a bit of tattoos, but it wasn't the norm out there. There were pieces here, pieces there. So when I met this dude, his name was Sleeves, and because he had both of his sleeves done, like it was very rare for people to have that out there when I was out there.
So a totally different environment.
Totally different environment.
How about when it comes to like gangs and stuff? Was it different?
Southsiders ran the yard out there. They had a whole bunch of Southsider gangs. The Peckerwoods were the whites. They weren't very big. And then they had a lot of blacks out there. So they had their Crips and their Bloods and stuff.
You ended up doing 2 years, as you said there. So after you did your time there, that's when they shipped you back to the USP, Utah State Prison?
Yep.
And then from there, where did you go? That's when you went to Max and you ran into me?
So, well, I went to, right off the bat, I went to Super Max UN1.
Yeah.
And when they put me back, and I asked them, I was like, why am I going to UN1? And they're like, well, because you escaped, so it's coming from the top that you got to start in UN1.
And for anybody that don't know what UN1 is, it's like Super Max, like super max. This is where they have people that escape, people that catch murders, people that do some crazy shit. They all put everybody in UN1. When I ended up catching my stabbing in prison, they put me in UN1. How do you feel like UN1 was? Did you get like basic respect from the cops, or did they just treat you like shit?
Oh, they treated me like shit, pretty much. It was terrible too. The toothbrush was like a finger condom, a little plastic toothbrush. You didn't get nothing solid. You'd be lucky if they got you a book. They'd come and get you out for showers, I think, 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. That's the only out time you had. And 2 cops would walk to your door, cuff you up, and then they had to put a spit hood on you.
Exactly.
To walk you to the shower. And it was miserable.
Leash. And they put a dog leash on you.
Yeah. It was miserable.
Just to be able to serve you your trays, they tell you to get on your knees and get in the back of your cell so they can put your tray in your door.
Yeah. And face away from you couldn't face the door.
Absolutely. So and were they putting sandbags under your cell so you could flood it?
Yep. So there were sandbags around your door, kind of. And you went to one, that first section I was in, they had it right in front of the doors. Mm-hmm. But all the other sections in UN1 after I moved up were kind of around the doors. And they do it for flooding. And so you can't fish or do anything like that. They don't want you passing stuff or...
And if you guys don't know, fishing is a technique in prison where one inmate will pass something to another inmate. And usually they both have like something that's a little bit heavier attached to a string so they can slide it under their door into another inmate's door, and they can go back and forth and pass messages or food or whatever they want to. Now, I don't know if you've been to Davis County or whatnot, but Davis County is ass, bro. When they lock you down, they put you in a section called F, and it's a section inside of a section. That's how locked down you are.
Yeah, I've been to Davis County and Weber County.
Weber County's definitely more dangerous, but Davis County's just, when you get in trouble in Davis, they're not playing, bro.
No. And I got in a ton of fights in Davis County. There was a lot of gangbangers there, and I was kicking it with a few people, and I didn't have money, so I was placing bets on like me and my celly would place bets on dirt. So he'd be like, hey, man, we'd play games. And he'd be like, if you lose, I'm going to make you go do some dirt. You know what I mean? So go punk that dude right there. Tell him you can't do this or that. So and I was young. I was 18 at that time. And so I didn't give a fuck. And I was just getting in all types of trouble.
I feel you on there. When you met me, right? This was right after I got into a fight with Leprechaun, right?
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like when you pulled up, there was still blood all over the cell.
Yeah.
It literally happened like the day before you got there.
Yeah.
What did you think about Max? Like how was the environment that we lived in? Was it dangerous? What'd you think?
People try to cut you or throw hot water on you, or it didn't matter what was, there was always something dangerous about the situation.
Now, you remember when me and Mighty and you and everybody all lived together, right?
Yeah.
Remember we got into the beef with the white boys?
Yeah. I think one of them stole your tray, or I can't remember exactly how it went, but there was that back and forth kites, and I think Royalty was one of them, and he tried to push the cuff board open on you and cut you, and when you were standing there talking to him by his door. And then I think I was living with Mighty at the time. One of the tray servers stole our food, and then I think they piss bombed our trays.
We would have stabbed each other if we could, but we couldn't get to each other. You got to understand, this is through a door. And when it comes to warfare like this, it's very weird because people will do anything. They'll spray shit under your door. They'll try to pop their doors. They'll try to hide in the shower so that if you're the next person out, that they can get you. So it was just a bunch of like mental warfare at this time. Remember when I was supposed to grab your tray, but I didn't, and then they were sending it down to Mighty and you, or no, it was you and Eddie Boy, and then that's when the white boys piss bombed the trays.
Yeah, because they were right after they got their trays. That's where they piss bombed it. They got their trays in and then did it.
All right, so I'm trying to explain to them how dangerous the Oakers is, right? If you guys don't know, the Oakers is a housing facility. It's general population. It's where they send everybody. That's where I ended up catching my stabbing case. Okay. Do you remember anything about that case I caught?
The dude went into the section, and I think he was throwing up something he shouldn't have been throwing up, or saying something he shouldn't have been saying. Called him up to the corner, said, "Hey, let's go to the room real quick. We'll take you to the room." And then that's where it happened. I think it was the corner room. I can't remember exactly.
Yes.
You took him up to the room, and then you guys got on him there. Then you had to cut up your clothes and flush your bloody clothes down the toilet.
Get rid of all the evidence and shit. We were ripping up our clothes, and it's hard to rip up these clothes because they're kind of thick. And we were flushing them down the toilet. I ended up getting everything gone. But they ended up like catching my shoes and some other shit. Plus, that's when old boy threw that knife on the tier and then tried to blame me for it and all types of shit. So that was pretty fucking awesome. But yeah, the Oakers is general population. You're allowed to be out. What is it, like from like 7 in the morning to like, or 6 in the morning to like 9 at night, maybe?
Yeah. You log down for count or for lunch.
At the time, we were on A and B day, you know. So A day is like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This group comes out. B day was Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. This group comes out. And we weren't allowed to mix with each other because there's so much animosity. And that's after all those people got stabbed. And that's when Evil got stabbed in Baker Block and all that crazy shit was going on. So when we went to population, this wasn't no regular ass shit. Like this was, we better be careful and make sure that they don't pop these people's doors. You just have to be careful because if they pop that door, you got to get that shit on and cracking immediately, you know? So you don't have time to fucking sit there.
Absolutely not. Once something pops off, then that's a whole other story. But even in Max, you're keeping your shoes on as soon as the doors pop. Everything's ready to go. If you got to take a shower, you're homeboy standing at the shower door, keeping point. You take your shoes to the shower. I mean, that's how I did it in population. And even when I had to do that drug program out there, I still operated kind of the same way, even though I didn't have to. It was just out of habit mostly.
Oh, hey, go ahead and show them the tattoo I did on you and Max. It ain't the greatest tattoo, but shit, that was done. That's authentic. That was done in maximum security at Utah State Prison.
Yeah, I can't even get it in the camera the right way. Boy, Lungs and Population did this one on me.
Yeah. It's Kermit piping down Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to anybody that's either getting in trouble or got out of prison and don't want to get in trouble anymore?
Man, it's not that hard. Just don't do it. Prison ain't all what it's made out to be. It's not cool. I mean, really, it sucks. I wasted 9 years of my life in there. So it's not something that I ever want to go back to at all.
What has helped you stay on the straight and narrow path?
Man, I got a family now. You know, I got 3 kids. I got a wife. I mean, before I went to prison. When I went to prison, I was young. I didn't have anything to live for. I was a drug addict. I didn't give a fuck. Now it's kind of different. I just have to watch out for myself no more. I got to watch out for my kids too. Definitely make sure they grow up on the right path. Because if they go the same path I took, then I would consider myself a failure.
No, absolutely, I agree. I don't know if you know this. What's a rough estimate of the time I did in prison? Just I'm throwing that out there because a lot of people are trying to question that.
Probably like 8 years, a little over 8 years. I think he got out for like a month or 2 months, basically,
Exactly,
and that was it.
exactly, brother. I appreciate you. Everyone's trying to say, "Oh, he did a year or 1.5 years," and I'm like, bro, I did 8.5 years in prison, bro. You know what I mean? I got out
Yeah.
for what, 60 days and went right back. Like that shit don't count, bro. That's still solid ass time. I'm gonna conclude this. I appreciate you guys. If you guys want to check out anything, everything's linked down below in the description box. And I appreciate you guys. Until next time.